welcome back to another episode of the ConquerCast. I'm here with a really good friend today, somebody that a lot of you know, and if you don't know him, you'll know his work just because you know Mountain Ops. Joel Pilcher, one of the founders of Mountain Ops, one that was here from the beginning and then has gone off and done some pretty incredible things on his own. And if you love the mark of Mountain Ops, and I want to talk a little bit about just what that mark has done for people in this conversation with Joel. He's the one that created the design behind the Mountain Ops logo and is just, when it comes to branding a product, a company, a personal brand, like Joel knows how to do that. And so, but on top of that, Joel's an incredible friend. We've stayed close over the years. We've known each other for over 10 years now. He's got a beautiful family. And if you've ever heard of Erda, or no, what's the joke?
You ever heard of Erda?
You ever heard of Erda? He lives out in a little slice of heaven. I don't know if you wanted me to give your location, but
it's fine.
Out in
It's fairly common knowledge, I think.
But he's done some incredible work, and we'll dive into that, what that process has been like. But Joel, welcome to the ConquerCast.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, let's get started. Let's dive into those beginnings. You and I met back in my brother's used car dealership over 10 years ago, and our two companies were coming together to form something pretty special with Mountain Ops. And what was that like during those times, trying to come up with the name, trying to come up with the mark and what it would be, what it would represent? Can you take us through that process so that those that love this brand so much can understand that look and feel and what the brand represented for you?
Yeah. And maybe I ought to go back even further than that, because I've always loved art since I was a little kid. I loved drawing, but I quickly fell in love with graphics as well, graphic design and branding. I was always a huge fan of the X Games. I grew up, snowboarding and wakeboarding and riding snowmobiles and dirt bikes and all that kind of stuff. So I loved the branding aspect, or that commercial side of the games. And, a lot of kids, when they were young, they had the dream of one day being in the X Games as an athlete, and competing. My dream was always to create a brand that one of those athletes would wear at the X Games.
Awesome.
So I always loved that. I always loved the thought of creating an icon that was powerful, that had meaning behind it, and that people wanted to be a part of, and make it part of their identity or who they are, and be passionate about it. So for me, it started long before Mountain Ops. It's something that I'd always dreamed of doing. So Mountain Ops gave me that opportunity to fulfill that dream, not in the X Games, but still, it's out there.
Pretty widely spread. When you think of like the number of people that are walking billboards wearing this mark, it does represent something. That's the amazing thing about it. When you see somebody else, like you're in the airport or whatnot, you see somebody, there's like this instant bond or connection. Just because of the brand they're wearing.
Yeah, and it means so much to me to see that. And I've been in Hawaii and seen it. I've been in Alaska and seen it. It's very fulfilling, very satisfying to see that, and to have been able to be a part of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an important step in the process. But bringing the company together, we knew that. We knew that from the very beginning, that we had to have a mark that was recognizable, that was solid, that was simple, but that had meaning to it as well. And I think we accomplished all that in the designing of it. And it was a process. We went through quite a few different ideas, and there was even a point where we talked about not having a mark and just going with a font or a text logo. Yeah. But I knew that wasn't right. I knew that wasn't going to work. It wasn't going to be enough for what we wanted to do with it. But yeah, we wanted to. We loved the military aspect of it. It had kind of a tactical feel, and which is always good when you want an exciting and edgy brand, but also the bringing the M and the O into it. I've found in the branding that I've done in the logo design, it's always fun to have a little, kind of like an Easter egg. Yeah, something that people may not notice at first, but I've found that if I can build something subtle like that, some sort of a surprise when people do realize it. And I've heard that with the Mountain Ops icon, when they find out that it is an M and an O, then it immediately strengthens or it creates or even strengthens that emotional connection for for the person to the brand, and it just instantly means more. So that's always been an important aspect or goal of mine when I'm developing logos.
Yeah.
Which I don't do anymore, but
no more, huh?
I've retired from the logo game.
The ConquerCast needs a logo. Yeah, sometimes simple is better, and in a lot of ways, the Mountain Ops logo is pretty simple and bold and sharp, right? And so no, that's awesome. What was the timeline in creating that mark? What was that process? What did it look like?
Oh, you're asking me to dig deep on
your memory,
and if you ask my wife, my memory's not great.
Yeah, what would you guess?
I don't think the icon took a lot of time. I think maybe a day or two, but the name took playing the name game with a brand.
Yeah,
that's what I call it, the name game, because just coming up with the right name for a brand, and then finding something that's available as well.
Yeah,
that's usually the longest part of the process.
Yeah,
but if I remember right, the icon came pretty quick.
It's awesome. Yeah, and the naming game, that does take a long time. And then finding something like mountainops.com was not available. We got getmountainops.com, and then we went through a process of negotiating on, on buying mountainops.com. Unfortunately, we were able to get that. And that was a big purchase for us at the time. I remember thinking, holy cow, we're going to pay this for a URL. But when you're building a brand, it's important that you have that all locked up. And I mean, to talk about the mark just real quick a little bit, I had two experiences I want to share with you, because I don't know if you've heard them. One of them was an individual that won one of our Conquer Fitness challenges, and his name is James Stone. I don't know if you've seen him on social media. We brought him in here. He won $30,000 with Mountain Ops through our Conquer Fitness challenge, but he told his story, and he had no idea what Mountain Ops was. He had never heard of it before. He had been addicted to alcohol from the time he was 12 years old, and now he's, in his adult years, and just every day. Started the day with it, ended the day with it, and just drinking. And he got online, he was kind of surfing the internet, and this really cool MO logo, this mark, kind of caught his attention. And so he clicked into it, just because the mark was what drove this action. He just thought, this looks really cool. Clicked on it. Goes to the website, finds out that we're doing a fitness challenge. There's some money up, for grabs. And he told his wife, I'm going to win this. And she said, are you going to stop drinking too? And he's like, right now, tonight.
Really?
And he did. Like cold turkey. And he won the competition. You should have seen him. We flew him in. He didn't know he thought all these winners were these contestants were coming in. He walked through the doors, the confetti went flying, and we had this giant check for him. And just life-changing, not the money, the transformation he went through, but he always says, like, it was this mark that like caught my attention, and then it changed his life. And he started taking his family to church. They started reading the Bible every day together. They started doing all these things, and he hasn't drank in like about 2 years now, not a drop of alcohol. So the impact that a mark can have when it actually has meaning behind it is life-changing. And I was at another event. I was speaking at this event, but I was sitting in the back of the audience, and there was a guy sitting up in the front of the room. He had a Mountain Ops hat on, and the little icon, I could see it from the back, and I saw him, and I was like, hey, that dude's got a Mountain Ops hat on. This is cool. I'm here. He must be a Mountain Ops fan. The guy that was holding the event kept saying, Trevor runs 10 miles a day. Trevor does this. And I was like, no, I don't. And he was talking about this guy. He started pointing at him. It was this guy sitting in the front of the room.
A different Trevor.
And we've become really good friends now. But I was like, hey, that's the dude wearing the Mountain Ops hat. So he must be running 10 miles a day being fueled with Mountain Ops. And in one of the breaks, he walks past me. I was like, hey, you got Mountain Ops running through your blood during those runs? And he's like, huh? And he's like, I just usually like eggs or something like that. I was like, I don't think he knows what I'm talking about. But he had a Mountain Ops, hat and everything. And he walked past me, and then they announced later that day, we've got Trevor Farnes, the CEO of Mountain Ops here. He's going to be speaking tomorrow. And this guy turns around, looks at me, and he comes back. He's like, what is this? Like, he points, he's like, I was like, where'd you buy the hat? He's like, I don't know, maybe the airport. I was like, we don't sell the hats in the airport. He's like, I don't know. I just saw the logo and thought it was cool. So I bought it, but I can't remember where it was. I just remember the logo was cool. So then the next morning I spoke at that event, and I said, hey, Trevor's wearing this hat, but he didn't even know what it was about. So today I'm going to take you beyond the mark and the lives that are being changed when they yeah, they might think this is cool. And it's incredible when that can draw you in and you have that type of power with a brand. And then to back it, there's like this system and this community and this product lineup that changes lives. So thank you for building a mark that actually like changes lives.
Oh, that's awesome. I appreciate you sharing that too, because that brings even more meaning to it. In the past, working with clients, working with companies on branding, and coming up with a solid icon, that will work well for their company. I always tell them that there's so much more to it than just the mark. It's the culture that you create behind it. That's what gives it the most power. And it's cool because that's what's happened here at Mountain Ops. The culture and the traditions that you're creating, and the meaning behind the company. It elevates that brand and that mark, the visual side of it even more. So it's awesome.
Well, you gave so much for us to work with, to be honest with you, because there's the mark of the Mountain Ops. And then, my wife and I had been donating these $22 and trying to do our part in feeding hungry children and such. And then there's this opportunity, let's do this. We didn't know what to call it. Like let's bring it into the culture of Mountain Ops and let's donate, meals for every order. And then you help us create Operation Conquer Hunger, and so you got this brilliant mind that has like helped along the way. And what does that meant to you? I mean, you've come to some events now, your family's been a part of them. You've not only done that, but a few years ago, I called you last minute. It was like, hey, in 2 weeks, I need to give a gift to someone. And this is all about multiplying our loaves and fishes. A lot of people have seen that. Like, at some of these events, we'll give out this loaves and fishes piece of art that Joel Pilcher's done, and I have the original in my home office. I absolutely love it. It means so much to me. But what's it been like watching that transpire and being a part of that?
Yeah, again, it falls into that same thought that it's the culture behind the brand that really elevates it and gives it more meaning. And I remember back in the beginning when you brought that idea to us of doing the Operation Conquer Hunger. I just thought that was so cool. I'm like, that's what we should be doing. Yeah, it's important to be able to generate an income for our families and bring fitness to the hunting world is what we were really trying to do back then. It was a big part of our strategy, and all that was good. But when you brought up the idea to donate meals to those in need, it just felt right. And I do also appreciate you giving me that opportunity to create that artwork for the loaves and fishes. Because I think I may have told you this, but for a long time I'd wanted to do religious. I'm religious.
Yeah.
I'm Christian. I do a lot of artwork, mostly wildlife art, but I've always wanted to move into that arena and that genre of art with religious art and Christian art. And I never felt like I was ready. Never felt like I was good enough to do it justice, to do that subject matter justice. But I was feeling like maybe I was about there, and then you called me and said, hey, I need this. And I was like, well, I guess now's the time. And I'm really happy with how it turned out. I've done several pieces since then. So it was kind of a good catalyst to take me in that direction, to open that door, help me open that door and start doing that kind of stuff. So
at every one of these Conquer Hunger events now, like whoever's helping us hold the event, I present one of those too. And it's a symbol of like the good work that community can do together, that individuals can do together, that a business, providing a resource can do together, because sometimes we all feel like that lad that has just a few loaves and a few fishes. But when you bring it all together with helping hands and you bring community together, it starts to multiply in a pretty incredible way. So I'll always look at that piece of art and just, it reminds me of where it started with just a few loaves and a few fishes. Now, 7 million meals is about where we're at. And you just depicted that so well. I love all that it represents. So we'll get into your wildlife artistry and all that and some things you conquer, but I just want to showcase a few more things. Those that are watching, like when I was, going to launch a book this summer, who did I call to brand the book and to design the book? And Joel Pilcher helped me to do all this design. There's one person I could call, and it was you. You understand the content, you understand the culture, you understand the message behind it. And so appreciated you doing that. Did this just come together quickly, or was that how did that work out for you?
Yeah, like I said, I've for the most part retired from graphic design. I come out of retirement every once in a while to help Trevor out. Yeah, if I remember right, this was a pure collaboration between you and I. You had some ideas, and I had some ideas, and we brought them together and went through a few different renditions of it. But ultimately, that's what we came up with, and I love how it turned out. Nice and simple, but still has some interest and meaning in it. Some Easter eggs,
There is, yeah,
things in there that make you look closer and explore it a little deeper.
Yeah, and that for those that can't see or that haven't seen the book, there's the Conquer code in big letters, and then there's the code behind, kind of like it'd be on a computer screen, but all the code is the core values and what those core values mean to Mountain Ops. So, yeah, I love the design there. And then we brought you in for a project. Joel just has an eye for things, and obviously, you worked really well with our team to help them collaborate and come together and come to fruition with the new product packaging. We had kind of gone through, I wouldn't say necessarily an identity crisis, but we with the original pack.
I might.
I was trying to just keep it. Yeah, you're right.
That might be a good
because we had multiple colors and we had the brand kind of shrunk, right? It was kind of losing its power, and I just didn't feel right about where it was at. And so if there's one person to come in, and our team was doing a great job of coming up with different renditions and versions of what it could be. And then we needed the Joel Pilcher touch to come in. He is the guy that understands this mark really well. And so you worked with the team. You worked with Dallin, especially on this project. And Dallin's such an incredible talent, and he enjoyed working with you. But those that can see, you're going to see more of a family, like I don't know, what would you call it? Just a family brand there with all the
more consistency.
More consistency, yeah.
But back to the bold, solid, call. The icon and call out of the brand, and Dallin does a great job. He just needed a little nudge, in a little bit different direction. And once he saw the vision of it, though, he's taken it and run with it, and he does some really cool stuff.
Yeah, that was a fun project to work on and have you here. But you're right, it goes back to that mark that draws people in and then changes lives. And so our goal is to utilize that mark to catch people's eye and then draw them into what the brand has to offer. So appreciate all you've done there and continue to do for the brand. But tell us about like leaving Mountain Ops to do wildlife artistry. And was that always a dream, or was that like, what was the hope? What was the aspiration? You've grown a large social following. You've created some incredible pieces, and you've used YouTube a lot, social media a lot. Like, was that all in your wheelhouse, or did you kind of go and reinvent yourself?
Well, from the time I was a little kid, I wanted that was like my ultimate dream, is to become a wildlife artist. When I was little, people would ask me what I wanted to do when I grow up, and I'd say I want to be an artist. And they're like, "Oh, what kind of art?" I'd be like, "Wildlife." So that's from early on. That was my dream. So
I was a pediatrician.
Yeah,
I guess we're feeding hungry children now.
Yeah, it's close, right?
That's awesome. I didn't know that it was from the early age that way.
Yeah, and that was prior, I'm old. That's prior to computers and any of that kind of stuff. Yeah. So back then, that was the only type of artist that I knew was a fine artist, doing painting and charcoal. When things happened at Mountain Ops, and I felt it'd be best to step away, I fell back on my graphic design and I picked up a bunch of clients and was doing well with that. But I'd always had this dream, like I said, of becoming a wildlife artist. But I tried it prior to Mountain Ops, prior to a lot of the graphic design I did. I tried to be a wildlife artist. I tried to go that direction with fine art, and it was nearly impossible. I mean, everybody's heard the term starving artist. There's no exaggeration there. It's a real thing. Not so much anymore. The social media has changed things for artists, and I was fortunate enough to pick up a lot of skills and understanding about social media marketing from my time with Zulu 6 was the marketing firm that we had, and then even more so with Mountain Ops.
Yeah,
the strategies we developed, the ideas that we had, the different things we implemented. I was able to take a lot of that information, a lot of those skills, and that's what when I was back to my graphic design, I'm like, this is not what I love doing digital artwork, digital illustration, all that kind of stuff. I don't necessarily love working for clients. So I didn't want to keep doing that.
Yeah. You got a bunch of bosses.
Right. And so I thought maybe now's the time that I shoot for the stars, and see if I can make that childhood dream come true.
It's awesome.
And because I saw the potential with social media, and I had a pretty small following at that time. When I first started, I think I had maybe 1,000 followers.
Yeah.
And I had this idea to draw an elk using white charcoal on a black artboard. I still remember telling my wife, I'm like, I think I can do this and make it look really cool, and I might be able to sell it. She's like, well, okay, just don't waste too much time.
That's awesome.
So I did, and yeah, that first piece, I got it done, and I put it up on my social media, and that it was for sale, and it was just a few hours later that I sold it.
Somebody you knew, or
no, just somebody on Instagram messaged me. Yeah, I want to buy it.
Right.
So that's where I was like, oh, I might be onto something here.
You're like, Tamara, I sold it.
Yeah, told you I could do it. And from there I just kept working at it, developing more. Using some of the strategies to grow my my social media following, and then I wanted to. Rather than just selling originals, I wanted to create reproductions because I felt like could be some residual income there. And there's a lot of residual income there. So it's been awesome to be able to, work that whole process out, the production process of reproduction prints. And now I've been able to add it to other products as well, phone cases and, blankets and different things like that. And it's done really.
Have you had to build a team to do all that, or are you just kind of contracting out a lot? Yeah, just you.
Just me. Yep.
Build a website, and then you're the reprints and everything. You contract that.
Yeah.
Help.
Yeah. So websites have come a long way. Yeah. I remember back in the day when I was doing branding, freelance work, and trying to help people get companies started. It was a nightmare. I churned through a dozen different web design companies, and none of them could finish a job, and it was a nightmare. But now they've got those they're basically templates where really you need more graphic design skill than you do programming. Yeah. So, and I've got that. So
yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, there's still some stuff on the back end, but it's mostly plug and play, click and drop and drag and drop and stuff. So I've been able to just manage my own website, and then the world of print on demand has emerged, and that's changed everything. I used to have a local printer here in Salt Lake City that would print all of my my reproduction prints on paper and canvas. And I had a space in my basement that I had dedicated to inventory, and my wife and my oldest son would do all my shipping for me. And so that was a bit of a process, a bit of a headache. But now with print on demand, it integrates right to my website, and people are able to come on and order, and it sends the order to a print provider, and they print it and ship it and handle all that for me. So
that's awesome.
So yeah, it's made it a lot easier to do it on my own. So yeah, now is there's probably more opportunity now for artists than there ever has been in the history of the world.
That's amazing.
Like there's social media and digital.
Do you still go out and hit the pavement and set up at events and such? Or
I don't.
When did you stop?
Probably should, but it's just it's so much easier to sit at home in my pajamas,
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, I probably need to. I've been tempted. I mean, I've been with you guys at the Hunt Expo, having a little spot in the booth, and that's been fun, and doing the live demonstration on stage. And
that's been really fun to have you there up on stage and with the big screen, and then you tell me to come up and mess up.
Sweep you on the spot.
The first year, obviously the second year I knew what was going on, but the first year I thought I was going to ruin everything with that big paintbrush, just wiping it all away is when I
did. You ruined it all, but that was the point.
That was the point, right?
Yeah.
Made it beautiful.
Right. Yeah. So it's good to be there. So there are people that come and want to talk to me in person, want to see my stuff, my artwork in person. So maybe, I don't know. It's a lot of work to do those shows and stuff. I might try to fit some of those in my schedule, but we'll see.
Has there been a piece that you've done that's like been, this was the home run piece, or is it kind of spread out amongst?
Well, it's interesting because I absolutely love charcoal, the black and white, just the medium, the way that the process that I've developed with using charcoal on canvas, the way I can work it and rework it, and the effects that I get, it's just pure bliss for me to create. And a lot of those pieces do really well. A lot of those prints do really well. But my top selling print is actually an acrylic painting, which is full color. But in fact, today I was sitting at my easel with a new canvas on, and I was trying to do oil painting again. And like I do it okay, but I just don't like it.
What's the acrylic painting that you did?
It's called Last Call. It's a big bull elk that's bugling with the mist coming out of its mouth. You guys have got one.
Yeah, we've got one
hanging up here. So
what do we got here? We've got that one. We've got a bear.
Yeah, you got most of my old stuff.
Old stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you see it and you're like, I would have done this different? Or
yeah, I'm better. I'm better now than I was before.
Well, that's
definitely. And a lot of it comes with I've developed my technique and changed things up the way I do it. Like now I use, I moved from the artboard to canvas, and I love working charcoal on canvas because it gives me such a more substantial finished product. I feel like it's higher perceived value because it's on canvas, and you don't have to frame it behind glass, which is awesome. And just recently I started applying a couple layers of gesso for added texture that really shows through the charcoal, has a really cool effect, makes it a little more painterly or artistic, just it brings some abstract element to it, and the texture is just awesome. But then just my ability to render a subject has improved, and composition, and there's just a lot of things that.
And are you just improving are you following people that are teaching this, or it's just like you're learning things as you go that you're like, oh, I can explore here, and you're discovering it on your own? Is it probably a mixture of both?
Yeah. People always ask me, am I self-taught or did I go to school? And self-taught is kind of a tricky term.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm self-taught but inspired by many, because I follow a lot of artists and see a lot of amazing artwork out there, and I see different things that they're doing, different techniques, and if I see something I like, I try to bring it into my process and implement it and see what happens. It's fun. Art's an adventure.
Yeah. And
I love it. I love pushing my limits. That's why I was back with the brush and the oil paint today, trying to push my limits there again. And I still got it.
What are you going to do with the oil painting today?
Probably throw it away.
When you start doing it?
It was a moose. It was just small. Oh, the piece was small. The canvas was small.
Okay, so you're just going to scrap the moose, huh?
Yeah, that happens occasionally. Not very often. I'm usually able to save a piece, if I'm not feeling good about it. I'm able to still bring it around in the end. But I don't know. Some I like better than others, but for the most part, I don't have to throw away too many canvases. But this was the whole purpose behind it.
Yeah.
Trying something new. And
have you you said you wanted to get into more of the religious art and kind of the faith-based art. Has that continued to grow? And
yeah, I don't think I'll ever go, full on, just drawing Jesus portraits every day. There's some guys out there that do that.
Yeah.
And ladies as well, and they do really well with it.
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed the pieces that I've done, and I plan to do more. But I love wildlife. It's so much fun. And then I've gotten into Western stuff a little bit, horses and cowboys and things like that. It's all fun. But
like that, is that somebody that commissions you for something, or is like, oh, let's try some Western?
This is just me just wanting to do it and trying to expand my audience as well. Honestly, that determines a lot of what I work on as well, is my audience, because I have to sell. I have to make a living. Got to feed the kids. I got a lot of kids to feed. So
yeah, what's your family like?
So I have 5 kids. The oldest is, how old is he? He's 19, almost 20. He's
almost 20. He's 20 today.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Well, tell her I said happy birthday.
But it's crazy that we've got kids that old, right?
Yeah.
Because you're
all over the world.
Mexico.
Too. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mexico and Brazil, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's serving a mission for our church in Mexico, and he's doing so good. We're really proud of him. It hasn't been easy.
Yeah.
But he's had such a good attitude. Awesome. He's faced some real trials, and he just keeps plugging along.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's cool. And we get to talk to him every week, and it's good to talk to him.
You guys on
keep up
days
on it. Yeah.
So him facing those trials, and you're seeing him face them and overcome them, is that something as a father and as a mother, you're with your wife, is that something you were able to teach? And was there intentionality around that? Any advice you'd give to listeners who are parents right now?
One thing that I think has really helped him, because it's funny, he's actually faced a lot of the similar trials to what I did when I served my mission. And I was really grateful when he started sharing some of the things that he was going through, some of the challenges he was facing, he was able to look at me and say, just like you did, Dad. And I was grateful that I'd taken time to share my experiences with my kids, the good times and the bad, and let them know that, life's not easy, but it's good.
Yeah.
And you can, if you just determine and you stick to it, you can fight your way through, and it'll be better once you get to the other side of it. And that's really right when he got on his mission. I think that's, for most missionaries, that's the most difficult time, making that adjustment to, especially living in a different country. But even those that go stateside, it's a whole different lifestyle, different way of living, because they're focused on sharing the gospel. And that's what they do every day. But yeah, he had some tough things that he had to go through, and that was his attitude. He said, I know this will make me better.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stick to it, keep working hard, and it'll make me a better person.
It's pretty powerful that he knows because of how he was taught or what he watched in the home. When he says, just like you, Dad, this country song comes to mind, and I'm not going to sing it, but it says, I've been watching you, Daddy.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm your buckaroo. I want to be like you.
Yep.
And they're watching, they're listening, they're paying attention. Even sometimes you don't think they are. Sometimes Beckham will say, he'll answer something. I'll be like, I didn't think you were paying attention, bud. And, but our kids are watching us, they're paying attention, and our life's experiences, if we share them with them, they'll have moments where they have a similar choice, to make this decision or that one. And just like you did, Dad, that's powerful.
Yep. We love that song because when Caleb was really young, there's the line in that song about this. But I may have, but no, there's the line in that song about the Scooby-Doo nightlight.
Yeah.
He had a Scooby-Doo nightlight. So he kind of caught onto that song. He liked that one.
That song makes my eyes sweat.
Yeah. That's a good one. It's a good one.
No, that's awesome. So, wife, Caleb's out on a mission.
Yep. And
4 kids.
Yep. Avery, Taylor, Sage, and Ren. And they're so all the way down. Ren's 8 years old.
It's awesome.
It's going on 9. So yeah, they're growing up fast. They won't stop. I keep telling them, my daughter came in, she was nominated for homecoming queen. And so she had to go and they had some sort of an assembly, and they all had to wear formal wear. So she was in her formal dress, like she was going to a dance or something. And she was so beautiful. And I was just like, stop it. Stop growing up. You're too beautiful. Stop it.
Yep.
She's like, can't, Dad. Sorry. See you later.
Yeah, what happens? I feel the same way. Just stop it.
Makes me feel old.
Yeah. Well, I think I've seen a few little white hairs growing through that beard over there. So
yeah, it's happening. I can't stop that either.
Not the charcoal.
No, I try to cover it.
Yeah, that's right. This podcast is all about conquering in life. You've done some incredible things. I'm assuming it was not always easy. It wasn't always smooth for you. Is there anything from your journey, whether it's family or faith or building this Joel Pilcher art brand, or any of, if you want to mix and mingle those, that you look at and say, here's some moments where I really had to dig deep and conquer and overcome this mountain that was in front of me?
Yeah. Like I mentioned, being a starving artist, I was for a while, and there's a lot of truth to that term. It's tough to try to make a living in art, but I was determined to do it. When I mentioned how when I was a kid and people asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, I'd say an artist, and they'd ask me what kind of artist, and then the next thing, or if they saw my artwork, they'd almost every time, and I know a lot of other artists got this same reaction. They'd see that, that I was good at art. They'd say, oh, that's cool. You've got talent for art. Too bad you can't make any money at it. I heard that over and over and over again. And it was really discouraging.
People you knew, strangers, everyone, like
everybody, except for my parents. My parents were always extremely supportive, and my wife. There have been times when we've struggled with my career as an artist, and I've had to take a different path for a while, thinking that I just can't do this. I'm going to have to do something else. And there's been a lot of times where Tamara's just been like, this isn't working, go back to your artwork. At least she's like, I know that's just,
you're fulfilled, you're happy there, right?
yeah. And it's, she just, I think she just believed that I could do it.
Powerful.
So yeah, but there's been a handful of times where things haven't worked out, whether it was with my artwork or with a different venture that I tried, and I'd end up, wake up in the morning without a job, not knowing what's next and how I'm going to take care of my family, and just having to push through. It's kind of, it's part of who I am. Like I'm stubbornly determined.
Yeah.
One of my earliest memories, I grew up in Bluffdale, and back then it was a very rural area.
Yeah.
Now it's in the middle of everything. But me and my brother, I think I was probably 3 or 4 years old, just a little kid. This is one of my earliest memories. And my brother is about 2 years older than me. And we grew up on an acre there. My parents had some chickens. And we had this Bantam rooster, which a Bantam rooster is supposedly a small animal, but I remember that was a monster. That rooster was huge. And my older brother we'd play this game. He talked me into doing it every time, where we'd run out the front door of the house and around the yard and try to get in the back door before the rooster caught us. And he was bigger than me, had longer legs, he could run faster, and he knew that. So he'd win, he'd make it he wouldn't make it. He didn't have to make it, because that rooster would catch me every time. And it would jump up on my back. It'd literally tackle me and then stand on my back and peck at the back of my head while I'm screaming. And my brother's laughing at me the whole time.
Man.
Yeah, it was mean. It was a mean sucker. But I remember that, because I would do it every time he asked me to do it. I would go out there and do it again. And I've looked back at that and thought, man, was I stupid or what? But I remember, at a certain point, I got bigger and stronger and faster, and I was able to outrun that stupid bird. And I was able to make it in the house.
And your brother, or just the bird?
Just the bird.
Yeah.
Nobody got caught. He was always bigger and faster. Well, not bigger. He was faster than me, but there was a point where, that's another story. We got in a fight and I kicked his butt. But,
it's like the rooster on it.
Yeah, but I look back on that, and that's just, I was determined to win that race, to get back inside the house before that rooster got me. And that's kind of just been, that stubborn determination and perseverance. That's what I've had to really, I've had to dig deep into that characteristic to make it.
Does that get uncomfortable for you at times? Is that, or is it just like, it is what it is?
What do you mean?
Like, I've got to go into this stubborn side of me. I've got to is that uncomfortable? Does it cause anxiety? How do you overcome that? Or is it just like, no, I just know I've got to do things?
As long as my focus is good on a positive thing, then it's what I need to do.
Yeah. If you learn that from parents, or
I don't know,
naturally part of who you are.
Well, my dad was a general contractor, and I grew up working for him.
Uncle Barry,
that's right. Yeah, and he started us really young, because it was his own company and he needed help. So when my brother and I we didn't care about child labor laws back then, I guess, because when we were 11, 12 years old, we were working 8-hour days out on the job site, which I'm grateful for. I learned how to work.
Yeah.
That was an important part of my life, to learn that. But the other thing that I learned working for my dad was innovation. So often we'd be working on a job and we'd have, the plans that the architect drew up. And when those drawings on the paper come to the real world and reality, things just don't always line up right. So we'd often run into problems, and we'd have to come up with a solution. And that's what my dad's attitude was: find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
And he was an example of that. Like my wife and my in-laws laugh at it now. It's even become a verb. When you take something and find a way to make it work, you pilcher it.
Oh, really?
So when things are kind of pieced together, it looks like they pilchered it. But it was a valuable lesson, because it taught me, that there's always a way. You can always find a way to make it work. And that's been very important in my career as an artist, with not just the art side. I mean, it's been helpful on the art side, where I've developed some new processes, the charcoal on canvas. I varnish that now. So like I said, you don't have to frame it behind glass, things like that. But also on the business side, as an artist, it's helped me to find ways to market my artwork, to get it out there, to grow my audience, to get traffic to my website, to get sales coming in. And I try to continue to do that. And it's that stubborn persistence, I think, combined with that innovation. My dad taught me how to find a way to make it work. And it's just, it's come together. Finally, it took some time, but it has. It's come together, and we're doing pretty well now. And I've got new things in the works too. So,
any new things in the works you want to spill the beans on, or is it all top secret?
I wasn't planning on talking about it, but I can. And it's nothing huge. It's just I've been full time doing my charcoal and my painting for the last 5, 6, 7 years, something like that. And I miss doing digital artwork.
Yeah,
I miss creating because what I did for like 15 years before Zulu 6 and Mountain Ops is I did a lot of apparel design.
Okay.
And I love creating t-shirts designs. But like I said, I don't love working for clients.
Yeah.
And some different things have changed on the production side and inventory and all that kind of stuff that's made it a lot easier. So I've got a brand I'm planning to release very soon where it's just like, it's kind of a pet project for me, just a passion thing that I have where I'm going to be doing some digital artwork to put on t-shirts and stuff like that. It's funny that I'm doing that because I used to work for so many people that were starting t-shirt companies.
Yeah.
But there's some of the barriers to entry, some of the issues with inventory like that have been overcome through technology, different programs that have set up. The print-on-demand stuff has made it so easy to do. So yeah, and it's going to be outdoor related because I love the outdoors. It's going to be, I'm hoping to add some mountain biking designs because I love mountain biking, wildlife, the hunting kind of stuff. And then I've gone down this rabbit hole recently of Sasquatch. Everything around that subject. It's just, I found some podcasts where they have people call in and sharing. I had an encounter one time, or what could have been. It's unexplainable, but it's just fun. I don't know. Yeah, it was up in the Uintas, which apparently there are quite a few
sightings
up there.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I don't know what I think about it. It's just so much fun. It's so much fun to hear people talk about it. It's like, I told my wife makes fun of me for it because I just think it's so much fun, but she thinks it's ridiculous. But I told her it's like, and so I grew up, I love reading.
Yeah. How do you?
Yeah, I did. I love audiobooks is what I do now.
He said he hadn't read my.
Yeah, I mentioned to Trevor.
He designed the cover, but he didn't.
I was waiting for the audio version because I have tons of time to listen to audiobooks, but I don't have time to read. So I'm going to get the audiobook and listen to it. But yeah, I love fantasy like Lord of the Rings, all that kind of stuff. And I've read, the Harry Potter books and Fablehaven and all these, and the Sasquatch thing is like, to me, it's kind of like Fablehaven and Harry Potter, where there's potentially this secret world that we're not really aware of, but we've just had glimpses of.
Yep.
And so the whole Sasquatch, it's just so fun.
Have you seen those? I don't know if they're YouTuber. I think it's on Netflix or something. And they like reenact. They're sitting in like a restaurant and they're all talking about their stories of seeing Sasquatch, Bigfoot. And then they go in to the woods and they reenact it. They've got Bobo that's walking through.
Oh, I have.
He's like, he was standing about like this and he's about your height. So go stand right here.
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
I haven't watched a lot of the shows out there about it. I found I don't enjoy so much the quote unquote Bigfoot researchers and their experiences and all that kind of, what I love hearing is just the everyday guy or gal that's out there and, just going about their own business, enjoying the outdoors, and then all of a sudden, wham, something. Blindsided by a Bigfoot encounter. Those are the stories.
Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah, those are the stories I love. So yeah, I'm going to have some, with this brand, I'm going to have quite a few Bigfoot Sasquatch designs. So.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm really close to having it ready to go. The website's up. It's bonfireoutfitters.com.
Cool.
And yeah, we got some, t-shirts and mugs and sweatshirts, and I'm going to be adding some more product on there as well.
Sweet.
I've got this idea to do, I got to see if this is going to work out, but have the option of doing some Crocs or some slippers.
Oh yeah.
And I want to illustrate a Bigfoot, like the foot of a Bigfoot. So when you're wearing them, it's like
That's awesome. Bonfireoutfitters.com.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. How'd you come up with that brand?
I played the name game, I talked about with branding. But I think that it's just a cool word. Bonfire is a really cool word. I've got a cool logo to go with it. But I just thought, I want it to be about those times that you spend in the outdoors. kind of my description of it is an adventure brand celebrating outdoor life and wilderness lore.
Cool.
So I'm going to do more than Bigfoot as well. I'm thinking, Dogman and aliens and some of that other stuff. But, campfire stories, stuff that you talk about or remember, when you're sitting around the bonfire.
That's awesome.
So
cool, man. I'm excited for you.
It'll be fun.
You've always got something up your sleeve, something going on. So I'm excited to hear that.
Yeah, I haven't for a while.
Yeah.
So it's been fun to get this little side project going again and get back into the digital stuff a little bit, but do it for myself.
Yeah. Creatives like you, do you kind of need to recreate yourself in multiple different ways along the way? It's like kind of a refresh, reset. Don't stop doing what you're doing, but add something to the canvas. Or
I don't know. I do. For me personally, it's like I've always had something cooking on the side, and I mean that's what Mountain Ops was for a while, for not very long, but yeah, I did that. I don't know if you remember the sock company that did it for a little bit, Hoof It Socks.
Oh, yeah.
We actually did some Mountain Ops socks.
That's right. I still have.
Yeah, that was another little side thing that was fun, but it was interesting because that was taking off and it was doing really well. And I got to the point, I still remember back when we started Mountain Ops, we got to a point with our day jobs where we were like, we've either got to go full in on Mountain Ops or cut back, because right now both are suffering.
Yeah.
And that's, we decided to go full in on Mountain Ops and leave our day jobs behind. And what a wild ride, huh?
Yep.
But I got to that point with the sock company as well, where I was doing my artwork and I had that sock company that was taking off. And I was like, I've got to make a decision here. And rather than going with the socks, I came back to my artwork and grew it even more and sold off the sock company. But it's fun. It's fun to get to that crossroads. It's kind of tough position to be in, but
you've got a really good compass. Like you have what it takes to kind of receive the guidance, I would say, from a higher power and make the decisions that are going to give you growth and experience and opportunity. I've just kind of watched that over the years, and you're a great man, great individual. And you've just got that moral compass that will take you in the right direction. You can do things for the right reasons. So
I appreciate that, because I do. I consider the decisions I make, in every aspect of my life, including business. I seek that higher power for guidance, and I feel like I have been, a lot of the times I've been led, and it's been good. It's been an adventure for sure.
Yeah.
Tough times and awesome times and
everything
all
in
of
between.
It. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, Joel. Well, I appreciate you being on here today. I'm glad that you just shared that little bit of upcoming, business venture that you're going down. That'll be fun.
I don't expect a ton from it, but it will give me an opportunity to do some of that digital artwork, and
that's really cool.
And everybody loves doing it, wearing a T-shirt with their own brand on it, right?
Oh, that's awesome, man. Anything else you want to share before we wrap up? Anything comes to mind about conquering your unknown, or
just to reiterate what I mentioned before, and just I found consistency and perseverance it's hard to beat that when you've got lofty goals in mind, and you're walking a tough path. That's what it's been for me, seriously, in my career as an artist. And even still, I have down months where I'm like, what's happening? Is the economy crashing? Is this it? Am I going to have to go back to digging ditches or something? Mm-hmm. And I found if I just stay consistent, just keep producing, keep moving forward, and then, it'll come back up again, and just keep pushing.
That's awesome. We're going to go out and hit the hills now on a bike ride. I can't wait. It's been a while. And Joel's one who's got me into the bike that I'm in right now. And, so we're going to go out and conquer the mountain a little bit. But I typically end these podcasts with one question. And you definitely are a conqueror. So, I look at you, I'm like, Joel, you've conquered a lot of things. You're doing some incredible things. You'll conquer more things to come. When all is said and done, as a conqueror, how will you measure your life?
Well, I'm not done yet. So I got a little bit to go before I can really start measuring.
How would you like to, I guess, is the better term.
I've said before that when I get to the end of my life and look back, I want to be able to say that was epic. Meaning that not necessarily that I've been a lot of places, traveled the world, and had all these amazing adventures, but I want to be able to look back and see that I made a difference, that I was a positive influence on those around me. In some small way, I made the world a better place. So I hope to be able to measure my life that way.
That sounds epic, man. I love it. I love asking that question because I can kind of like, okay, I really love the way that he's going after life, or the way that he wants to experience, or have felt it in that, and so it kind of rubs off on me in a way to think about how am I approaching life. And we should look back on this in a very epic way and say that was an incredible journey.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm guilty of this sometimes too, but I think too many of us are going through life half asleep, like we're, playing a supporting role in a film rather than being the protagonist, the main character. And I've felt that before, like I'm just sitting back and letting the days pass me by, where I need to be that main character in my story. And that's what I'm hoping for. I fall short often. There are times when I realize it and take my cell phone and chuck it across the room because I realize I've been scrolling for too long. And yeah, I think it would do us all good to wake up and step forward and make sure we are the heroes of our story.
That's awesome. Well, let's end on that. Wake up and live an epic life. Thank you, Joel. It's awesome.
Thank you. It's been great. Thanks.